Well, hello and welcome to the PMQ webinar series. I'm your host, Brian Hernandez, and today we're going to delve into the world of technology and multi-unit operators. Now, I'd like to thank our partners at Hunger Rush for joining us again today and bringing the technological knowledge, that's a big word, technological knowledge that we all need in today's market. Today, we're going to learn how Fratelli has adapted to the latest technology, all while staying ahead of the curve. We're also going to learn how embracing digital ordering channels has skyrocketed revenue, driven avid customer loyalty, and strengthened their community ties all through Fratelli. Now, we do want to remind our attendees that you guys can ask questions here live. Just use the questions tab in your dashboard, and I'll moderate those, and we'll get to those at the very end of the presentation. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce our panelists today, Mr. Mike Cole, co-founder and CEO of Fratelli, and Matthew Martini, a senior manager, enterprise and account-based marketing for Hunger Rush. Welcome to the seminar, guys. I'd love to hear what you have to say. So, Matt, take it away.
All right, thanks, Brian. And hi, everyone, and thank you guys for joining today's webinar. We're super excited to be joined by Mike Cole, as you can see here at Fratelli Pizza today. We love Fratelli Pizza from not only a technology standpoint, technology partnership standpoint, as they are really a perfect case study on how to run an efficient multi-unit operation that puts their customers and their local community first. But we also clearly love them as consumers of their delicious thin crust pizza. Highly recommend it if you haven't tried it. Great delivery experience, great ordering experience, all on brand. It's really cool. Today, we are, really excited to cover the following topics with Mike. We're going to get some background on Fratelli Pizza, where they came from and how they got to where they are. We're going to learn how they are staying connected to the community in a time when it's really a challenge to make meaningful human-to-human connections with your customers, obviously. We're going to delve into the digital channels that support Fratelli Pizza's growth, and we're going to look at how the Fratelli Pizza family go about recruiting and training new franchisees as well. And then finally, we're going to get into what's next for Fratelli Pizza and some Q&A at the end of the session. Before we dive into these conversations, we'd really appreciate it if everyone on this webinar could take a quick moment to answer our poll question. As an owner-operator, what is most important to your bottom line? And while we wait for those answers to come in, Mike, how would you answer that question for Fratelli?
Well, I'll tell you what, the most important thing is making sure that customers get an experience that they value for their hard-earned money spent from the first time that they make a phone call or they hit our app till the delivery to the product quality of the pizza. And hopefully the experience sells itself and we would need them to return. I think all businesses need a high ratio of return business in order to grow and maintain, consistency.
Yeah, it's all about generating that loyalty for Fratelli. Cool. So we have these answers coming in. Let's give it a few more seconds here.
For that first poll, 57% said their answer is reaching out to new customers. Second answer was 71% felt that, strengthen community ties.
Very interesting. Interesting results. Can't say I'm surprised here. Sounds like we have some pretty savvy people on the line that understand the value of their current customers, especially their most loyal customers, and how much impact that has on revenue. So let's get into it, Mike. So you guys have been in business since 1987. Can you share with us how Fratelli Pizza got its start? Maybe the backstory. Feel free to talk about any early challenges you guys may have had to overcome.
Okay. Yeah, we started in 1987. Fratelli means the brothers. The I is pronounced E because it's an Italian word, and Fratelli is plural for brothers. So there was four of us. All four of us were born within 49-month period. So we're very close. And we're all pretty young and fairly inexperienced. We operated a 60-seat full-service restaurant and served our pizza. And as we would continue to develop and grow, we realized that our pizza became kind of the centerpiece of our menu because it was unique and people appreciated it. And so three of us would work in the kitchen and one of us would work out front. And so after about 5 years, we expanded our restaurant, but then decided, based on the economy, to try and go into the delivery business because our pizza was so popular. And back then, our point of sale system was a wire that would go from the front to the back with bull clips on it and pieces of paper that we would sling back to the cooks. and that's about as sophisticated as it got back in those days. So we were kind of pre point of sale. Those were some rough days. But gradually, as we recognize the benefit of the pizza delivery and takeout only model and our ability to scale, return on investment, simplicity of operation, we continue to run full service restaurants, but over the years we've gravitated that this is the model that has really made us who we are. And that's our singular focus from this point forward. So we make pizza today exactly like we did in 1987. We use same stone deck ovens, same marinara recipe, same hand rolled pizza dough. We never needed to change. It's thin crust only. A lot of people compare it to flatbread. When we were making pizza in the 80s, I had never heard the word flatbread. So you're eating our pizza and we appreciate it. And kudos to Bruce and Kelly out in Houston who continue to provide Hunger Rush good pizzas over at their office. We know that's important.
Yes, it is. We very much appreciate that. Keep them coming. Yeah, so that's awesome. Congratulations on,
I'm sorry, man. I don't often interrupt, but I did want to congratulate Mike on that last slide. I know Emily just went from it, but never trust around pizza. I love that phrase. I've heard that coming up. It's like, it's not cookie cutter. It's artisan. It's with love. Not everything's going to be in the perfect shape. So I'll let you guys continue. I do apologize, but I did want to chime in on that.
No, thanks. That is super catchy. Yeah. So, you guys have been in the business for over 30 years now. Congrats on that, first of all. So with over 3 decades in the industry now, you guys probably know what works and what doesn't for you. So could you talk us through some of those key successes and lessons learned through opening the restaurant and then growing to 21 locations where you're at now?
Sure. And this was essential to framing our franchising program that we started back in 2013. There was this movie that came out that said, if you build it, they will come. I can't remember what that was called. It was like baseball.
Dreams.
Yeah. And when we first opened, that's kind of what we were doing is, we opened in our hometown, a lot of support from our friends and community. But there was a point where my brothers and I were kind of looking at each other and it's like, what else can we do? And that's when we started figuring out, no, we got to get out there and we have got to meet the people in their place. We started guerrilla marketing programs. We started reaching out to communities, and our goal is to reach the customer in every place that they're in, whether it's with their employer or it's at home, it's in their social organizations, it could be their place of worship, it could be what their kids are doing. And so we've developed this, what we call the dynamic of repetition, to where we're trying to hit people and be a part of their lives on every level in order to win their loyalty away from the other pizza chains. The large ones, the large coupon driven ones where everything's automated. And we need them to know that our pizza's unique and our commitment to them is unique. But it takes a passionate operator who wants to represent the brand and connect with those people and who really values those relationships. And then the pizza supports that. So we use pizza as a vehicle to build relationships, and it helps that the pizza is good. And these are the principles, and these are the principles that we teach all of our franchisees. It's like, brand awareness is important, but when you open your store, you help enhance that brand because of your passion and your character and your commitment to the community and the relationships that you build through the business.
The E. Fratelli experience. I'm obviously quite familiar with E. Fratelli pizza and the delicious delivery that just came to my house a moment ago. My name is also Martini, so my Italian roots kind of gave me really no shot at resisting that. Let's be real. But for those who aren't too familiar with you guys, what's your secret sauce that sets E. Fratelli pizza apart from the competition?
Well, we make our own dough in store, and we hand roll it, and that is why it's oblong in shape. We have no pizza pans, so there's nothing round, and it takes a long time to learn to roll dough by hand. In fact, our trainees and our franchisees have to roll 50 trays of dough, which is 16, which is basically 800 before they pass the first level of training. It takes a lot of repetition. So it's a high skill level. It's high skill level pizza product, especially because we're also cooking on a stone deck oven and we're constantly moving the pizza. So again, this is a pizza that we serve at a table in a restaurant. And now we're delivering the same quality of pizza. It's exactly the same. It's not the kind of pizza that anybody on your staff can make. Some of our competitors, the drivers are making pizza, the people answer the phone, everybody's making pizza because of the automation. Unfortunately, we don't have that luxury. But I think it shows itself in the quality of the pizza. It's very thin crust. It's very crispy. It's cooked on the stone deck. And when we deliver a pizza, we don't take 3 or 4 orders at a time in the neighborhood and try to figure out which one is priority. We take one at a time. And we figured that out back in about 2008, that when you singularly focus on a customer and make them your priority with no other pizzas with you, no other salads, it causes us to go straight to their door and straight back to our store without any complications. And the pizza's hotter, it's fresher, there's fewer mistakes. So we call that priority delivery. And I think some of the big chains are starting to gravitate towards that, because guess what? When you take 2 different orders, one of those 2 is second class. And we believe no one is second class. So we believe that each customer deserves that priority service. And is it challenging logistically? Yes. But the commitment and the amount of gratuity that our drivers get and the quality of the pizza, it bears tremendous fruit. So I think that's another part of our differentiation from the industry. Another thing is we're not coupon driven. We don't do buy one, get one free, medium, 2 toppings for $5.99. We just simply can't afford it. The pizza quality is too high and it's too expensive.
Is there something that Hunger Rush does on the eaves of what he was actually speaking about? I mean, that you guys do as far as offering the efficiency?
Yeah, and I mean, I can really attest to the experience that they've created both on and off premises, having ordered from them quite a few times. But just as an example, I just went on there. I just got a pizza for lunch. I ordered it through their fully branded digital ordering platform. It was first party. The pizza arrived hot literally 20 minutes later. Like that never happens with third party apps and anything like that. And then, of course, the guy who delivered it was in the whole Fratelli uniform also. So they really did a great job of creating that on-premise experience, even though we're all just sitting at home right now. And we can't really, have those in-house dining experiences that we're accustomed to. So,
well, and I do remember Mike saying that uniform is an important part of their branding.
chefs
I had
have
no idea that they show up in those uniforms, those chef coats with Fratelli. I would love that. That would make my day.
Yeah, they absolutely do. And it just happened a few minutes ago. So I was very pleasantly surprised. It was awesome.
Is there anything else on the next couple slides, as far as the channels of help for uncertain times? I mean, we've talked about app ordering, integrations, contactless ordering, delivery management. Is there anything else that you can expand upon in these bullet points?
Yeah, sure. So COVID-19 has obviously dropped unprecedented challenges on the restaurant industry. It also has, kind of provided some competitive differentiation opportunities in terms of pivoting operations and leveraging technology to remain successful. And that is something that we feel Fratelli has done an incredible job with. Yeah, and we've really established a very strong partnership with them over the years, helping them scale and, really helping them, trust the restaurant management system that they use. Yeah, so Mike, I was just going to ask you about, in the era of COVID and how many things have changed. Could you talk a little about how those things have changed for Fratelli Pizza in this very weird year that we're experiencing in 2020?
Well, I would say that the number one benefit, if you can find a benefit in COVID, is that people really appreciate our service and appreciate our drivers. The gratuity level has been phenomenal, and I think it's while the culture is kind of looking to the heroes in, the medical industry, obviously, they've also included some businesses, the essential business people who are serving at the grocery store. All of a sudden, we recognize their sense of value, and it's really nice to be appreciated, especially in the industry sometimes that doesn't always get the respect that we think we deserve, and that's another reason why we dress professionally, is because we feel like professionals and we want to appear as professionals, and it helps our image as one professionalism. So in terms of COVID, the most important thing is making sure that our staff is comfortable, and everyone's working together. And empathy goes a long way, and compassion, to making sure that everybody is safe. And the notion of contactless delivery, curbside pickup, it really raises the bar with sanitation and masks and gloves, and just being nervous, being in these times and being exposed. And fortunately, we have endured and persevered. Regarding the customers, a lot of them are stuck in their homes, and without companies like ours, a lot of them didn't want to go to the grocery store. So I think our relationships have been strengthened, and that happens a lot in adversity. It's like you really know the character of who you're dealing with in adverse conditions, and so I think we're on our way out, and gradually we're starting to see more office orders, which is a very important part of our business model. And, we're delivering to construction sites because they keep on working. We've been delivering to hospitals a ton ever since this started. One of our donation programs was for some hospitals. It really pulls you together, and, makes you more committed to the valuable relationships that you had going into this.
Absolutely. And when you mentioned donation, that's dough with a DOUGH. Just to be clear, we're going to get into that in a second. That's my favorite part about what you guys are doing. But now that, you kind of mentioned, that you're trying to, make sure that you're addressing all of the new and changing priorities of your customers. Now that you're 100% off premises, at least for the time being, what additional steps have you taken to optimize the digital experience for your customers?
Well, the main thing is that we've done more in social media advertising, knowing that that's one of the only ways we can reach them. Mm-hmm. We're not able to reach as many people in an office with a care package or guerrilla marketing because they've been at home. So we've done a lot more with our social media and connecting social media to our app and our desktop ordering. So it's been very valuable, especially as people are spending almost their whole day on the computer, on Facebook or on Instagram, or just ads showing up. So it's been essential, and we've seen the percentage of our sales from phone-in orders to online orders increase significantly during this time period.
Cool. So let's start talking about how you guys stay connected to the community, as I know that's a big one for you guys. So in working with you and learning about the Fratelli Pizza brand, it's clear that you guys hold community and authenticity to the absolute highest standard. So with these strange times we're in, how has digital helped you continue these genuine interactions? And how are you driving engagement with customers in the local community during a time when, most people, for the most part, are confined to their homes?
Well, like you mentioned earlier, our program on donation, which we reach out and we ask for people to submit to us and partner with us for their needs. And most of them, they're all nonprofit. And so we designate a day of the week and we promote it in all of our stores. And we basically, any sale that is related to that organization, We don't profit. We give all the profit to that organization. How does it benefit us? Those people spread the word about Fratelli and its role in the community. And so through social media, we have people that become influencers for us. At the same time, we're giving back to them. A lot of them are SPCA, food banks. A big one recently was the Innocence Project. Everything that has to do with schools, whether you're trying to support your band. And we've had hundreds of partners over the years that we've supported. And so we need them to know that we're more than just a convenience food for them. We want to be part of their life. And when they need pizza for their football team after the football game, it's going to be ours. When they need pizza in the press box for the opposing teams as guests, we're bringing our pizza. And a lot of times we're doing that for free. Now they may promote us on the scoreboard or put an ad in the program, but these kind of things were natural for us because that's where we came from. And then we realized by embracing those relationships, that ended up becoming pretty much the foundation of our success. And some of our competitors, especially the big three that we're competing against day in and day out, I don't know that they have great relationships locally with the individuals within their community. And that is why when we are selecting franchisees, that is our primary focus. We want them to be known as the pizza king of that local community. And they are involved in everything, and they are trusted, and they're giving back, and they are providing a superior pizza experience. So that is vital. Other than that, I would say it has been harder, but I think we're starting to see the pendulum swing where people want to bond again. They miss each other. I know it's still not safe as we'd like it to be, but we're really looking forward to when people start coming back together, and because we will be there. We miss all the special events that we used to host, all the marathons we would support. We miss all the fairs and the art in the square and the taste of this city and taste of that city. All of those were canceled, and has been very painful for everyone. So we're really looking forward to the backside of COVID, when I think the meaning of our relationships with each other will become more valuable than they ever were before.
Absolutely. Yeah, I commend you guys on everything that you're doing in the community. It's really awesome. So you mentioned, obviously, it's a major challenge these days, when all of these in-person events and opportunities to engage with people on a human-to-human level aren't really happening anymore, at least for the short term. So, how has over the last year, how has your customer engagement strategy and loyalty program evolved to kind of address the changing priorities of your customer and just the changing dynamics of the world that we live in?
Well, we had to step up, and we have an iClub loyalty program where people can sign up. We usually sign them up in person at events, but we can sign them up online, and then we use them through email. And then we're also able to harness our contacts through our Hunger Rush online ordering system and be able to integrate that with our iClub loyalty program. So we're able to reach our customers and continue by email as well to remind them that we're here, offer them specials, and keep engaging them. That, along with ramped up presence on Facebook and on Instagram, we're continually trying to show them that we're working on new products. We're informing them about the new stores that are open. We actually opened 2 stores since COVID started, and both of them in Fort Worth, Texas. People are surprised that we're still trying to grow and become part of their community in the midst of these trying times.
That's awesome. Especially that you guys are continuing to grow, and that actually works really well for the next slide, which is, going into the pride in the brand and in your team, especially. And you spoke about this just a moment ago about how you guys kind of go about your franchise development and recruiting new franchisees, but we'll get that into just a moment. When we first spoke, you talked about how important it is to really train and empower your staff to feel a sense of pride when they put on that Fratelli uniform. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yes, sir. We train all the franchisees and their management staff and our own managers go through all the same training program. And I actually personally take all the trainees through different courses of, probably about 25 to 30 hours of lecture classes, all based on the philosophy of our business. We have a lot of Red Bulls and Monsters and a lot of coffee sitting around and snacks to try to keep them awake during my philosophical lectures. But it's important that they understand why our organization is successful and that they embrace it. And we need believers. And, you can't make it in this industry without passion. You can't make it in this industry if you're lazy. So, hungry and humble are the foundational virtues that, along with a good system, and I think, through the classes and the training, they train in our stores. We have a training kitchen here in our headquarters in Las Colinas, which is in Irving, Texas. And we teach them the fundamentals of cooking. But we treat the managers of our franchise stores, they're like our own. They're part of our family. And we have one in construction right now in Westlake, down by Austin. And one of his young managers is living up here with us right now, and he's working in one of our stores. And I told him, I said, hey, you're as important to me as any other manager who's come through this organization the last 33 years. We're going to give you our all. And because we don't see the franchise stores any different than we see our own. In fact, we help them choose the location. We have to approve it. We wouldn't approve a store to open that my brothers and I wouldn't open ourselves. So it's the same criteria that is required. That means that we're not going to fit in every market with our type of service and pizza style. That's okay. We're not trying to open 1,000 units. We'd rather have fewer units, but strong operators and successful. So the brand standards are key. And the most important thing is that they become very, very familiar with the product. They've got to be intimate with it and know the dough and how it cooks. It's a living organism, and how it acts and how it relates to the time temperature relations of that stone and how often you move it and judging it. It's a high skill level. When we are in competitions in Dallas, in readers' polls, and vying for the best pizza in the city of Dallas, we're the only pizza delivery company in it. The rest of them are chef-driven dine-in restaurants. They're coal-fired or wood-fired, Neapolitan-style ovens. They're not in the pizza delivery business. We're the only ones that are winning those competitions in Dallas and Fort Worth who are exclusively takeout and delivery only. That is a huge challenge to maintain that standard and beat those guys who are serving great pizza at your table at your restaurant, and we're delivering it to your house in a cardboard box. And we're trying to outpace them and win the accolades that we've received over the last few years.
Absolutely. And it sure shows, coming from someone who has visited a few, or I've gone to a few different one of your locations and gotten the same awesome brand experience and the same awesome pizza. You guys are definitely doing a phenomenal job at that. So yeah, let's get into the donation program that I was talking about, or that I referenced earlier. Mike, you want to talk a little bit about the volunteer work you guys are doing in Texas, and how you're just giving back to the local community in general?
Yes, well, what happens is 15% of the sale of every pizza that comes in on that day, we write a check to their organization. And it helps when the person who is our influencer, that is the spokesperson or contact with that sponsored charity, it embraces it, it's passionate. And there's some times that, I mean, we can't hardly keep up. The amount of enthusiasm and response is phenomenal. We turn around as even in the franchise stores. So regardless of what community we're in and which organization it is, you know, us corporate, Fratelli is writing that check to each of those organizations to try to support them. And it's been very successful. And, you know, especially with the trying times when there's greater need out there, I think it becomes much more important to step up. And because we're very blessed that we've been able to endure these times as an essential business. I mean, I'm not saying that every day is wonderful, but it is a challenge. But we're seeing what's happening in this industry, and it's been devastating. And so we kind of feel like as stewards of what we've got to kind of share the good that we have. And when there's people in need, we're there for them. And the good thing about it is it helps us continue to build relationships. So, you know, it's a two-way street. We benefit as well. And we meet new people and we form new relationships. So, and, you know, even if it's a franchise store, if Bruce down in Houston says, I got a school that needs help and they keep contacting me. I said, good, let's sign them up. We submit. He has a blowout Monday and he doesn't write them a check. I write them a check. And because I'm trying to support Bruce and I'm trying to support the charity, the school, whatever it is within his community. But we're really proud of it. And, you know, my brother George partnered with a young lady named Rachel Black who does our marketing. And they drove this thing. And we've got the trademark on it, federal trademark. And I think as we grow, it's going to become more and more important. And hopefully as we grow in Texas and grow outside of Texas, that will be front and center as an essential part of our brand. I think it has a lot more potential. So we're excited about it.
Yeah, that's awesome. And 15%, I mean, that's not an amount to just, turn your nose up at. So you guys are obviously, you guys are, following through on your goal to connect with the community, and you're really showing that you truly do care about that stuff. So that's awesome. Right before we get to expanding the Fratelli Pizza family here, talk a little bit more about franchise development. That donation program, if I remember correctly, you said you had hundreds of companies participating?
Yes, sir. That's correct.
Wow. That's pretty awesome. Cool. So let's go back to just briefly talk about, I think this will be really helpful for the people on the call, about how you go about expanding the family, finding and selecting the right franchisees for your business, and keyword there is the right franchisees for your business. What does the journey look like from recruiting and then all the way through to getting them set up for success in terms of training, technology, et cetera?
So what we do is we establish ourselves the markets that we believe that our brand is going to succeed in. And what we do is we compare them to our current stores demographically. So we do an assessment and then we evaluate them and give them a score. So instead of someone coming to us and saying, hey, I want to open a store here in this town, we actually predetermine where we think our brand will work. We do not want to set anyone up for failure. And we've never closed a store. So we want to continue that level of success. You might say it's strict, but we want to set them up for success, not failure. So once we establish the market and we determine the delivery area, and then we help them find the location, and we help them design the store, and we help them negotiate the lease, and we have to approve the lease because there could be a wonderful location, but if the rent is too high and it violates the principles of the business model, no location is great if you got to pay so much for it that you can't make a profit. So we tell them, can't approve that one. Even though it's a great location, you may want it, but we can't approve it. So then we help them each step of the way, from design to small wares, equipment, all the way to opening. Some of our franchisees have experience, some of them don't. And so we're really on hands with all the way the installation of equipment, the store opening. But there is one aspect of our design that is very important. And I don't know if it's unique or not, but we require that whoever signs up to be the managing owner of that store, they have to have capital invested, and they have to own a minimum 20% of the operation. So basically, they've got skin in the game. And we know this is what they want to do. It's not going to be a hobby, but it's not going to be something that they're just going to own a business and hire someone else to run. No, they're all in because we've been all in. And that's the only way that we've been able to succeed at every location that we've opened. So where we go from here is, Texas offers a lot of opportunities. We have several of our franchisees that, especially as COVID begins to decline, are looking to add to their numbers. And that's wonderful. We're looking for new franchisees, but we're also looking for our current successful franchisees to gain more momentum and more units.
So Mike, tell us what's next for Fratelli Pizza. If you feel comfortable sharing any of your upcoming plans and what's on the roadmap.
Well, right now we're identifying locations, more locations in the DFW market as it continues to grow. A community 3 years ago that I would say could not sustain one of our stores has now matured and has demographics and is right. And it's just because we're, being in the state of Texas with the growth, also you've got Houston, which is huge, and a lot of opportunity, and Austin continues to grow. We're looking in San Antonio. So there's a lot of growth potential here. And the fact that we're located in Texas, it makes more sense for us for support purposes to be able to grow, in kind of concentric circles from here in terms of supply chain management and support versus, going and opening 3 stores in Pennsylvania. It's kind of a hub and spoke concept. We want to be the hub, and we may continue to open some of our own stores as well, but primarily it is through franchising and the talent and the passion of people out there, like some of our current franchisees, that are going to help us scale to the level that we think this brand is worthy of achieving. We would like to become a national brand. And right now we're still a local brand. Now we're becoming a Texas brand. We think the concept is worthy of the national brand. I'm not quoting any numbers, but, I don't see why in the next few years, doubling the size of our company should definitely be in order.
Beautiful. Well, congratulations on your continued success and, continuing to grow even in the toughest times that the restaurant industry has frankly ever seen. So really inspiring and awesome. I think we have a few questions coming in, but just one last question for you, Mike. So knowing what you know now from all the long days, growing from 0 to 21 locations over the course of 30 years, what do you think is ultimately the key differentiator for the success that you've seen?
The key differentiator is, once again, having managers, staff members in your store that really value people. They value their staff, appreciate their staff, they know they're important, they know how hard they work, and they also value the customer. They know the importance of appreciating the customer. We have a lot of customers that have a lot of buying power and have a lot of influence, and they're essential to us. They drive our economy. They drive the income of our managers, the income of our franchisees, the income of our cooks and our drivers, and we have to serve them well and appreciate them. And that is foundational to our success. And along with our vendors, you know, we consider our vendors as our partners. And when we started first looking at Hunger Rush, I drove down to Houston and I just started walking around their office. You know, it's an operator's nightmare for a system to go down, for a system to crash. And anyone who's on here who works in a restaurant and knows what happens when your computer crashes, your POS goes down, yeah, that's the worst thing that can happen to you. You're so dependent upon it. It's essential. I went into the support room and saw all the support staff and, you know, the 24-hour support staff and all in the cubicles. And I said, you guys are what I'm counting on to keep us in operations. Because if I get a blue screen or whatever you call it at a store, or my printer goes down, the customer suffers. And that's inexcusable. Customers don't want to hear excuses. They want service. So you got to have an ironclad POS that does not fail. And that was probably the most important part of my decision to switch over all of our stores. And that's not an easy decision, to go and tell all your franchisees, take out all your POS, all your hardware, software, we're switch over all your credit card processing. So in that regard, same notion of relationships or trustworthiness, to be able to know that, you know, or the people at Hunger Rush or the people of our institutional grocer, our prime vendor, you know, under these times, are they going to get our pizza boxes and our cheese to us? Everything is stressed and under pressure. We've got to pull through so that the customer doesn't suffer. So that philosophy is where we came from and learned as we grew. And I think that's what carries us forward as we continue to build and galvanize relationships. And hopefully growth will help everyone. You know, growth floats all boats, and everyone should benefit.
That was a great point, Mike. Yeah, it floats all boats. We all need that growth. Matt, was there any last thought real quick? We want to get to some questions here at the end of, but I don't want to cut you off. Is there something you want to, kind of an outro you want to give for us real quick?
No, I think we're good. I think Mike summed it up perfectly there. I mean, honestly, E. Fratelli, maybe we're a little biased here, but E. Fratelli is just, you know, like the perfect success story for how to grow from 0 to 100, essentially, or 0 to 21 to be more specific here. And, you know, just putting the customer first, you know, investing in the right partnerships, the right technology, and, you know, ensuring that all of your franchisees have everything they could possibly need to be successful and to be set up for success before they even, you know, necessarily step foot in that store. As Mike was talking about, all the research they do to ensure success there.
No, and that's absolutely a great point. Just do your homework first. You don't want to jump in blindly because everybody thinks it's going to be fun to make a pizzeria or have a pizzeria. It's not. It's a lot of work. You need to know what you're doing. So without further ado on that, I do have some questions from some of our viewers that I wanted to address here. Alex Kuntz, he's got a couple questions here. The main one is, how do you maintain the integrity of product and service? And I think this is actually addressed to you, Mike. And I actually asked him to expand on it. How do you maintain the standard of pizza, product, and the culture? Doing it with 30 plus stores must be very tough, especially through these hard times.
all of our franchisees, all of our units use the exact same products, and no one is allowed to use a product outside the system, and it's all proprietary. So our dough mix is our own proprietary, our marinara sauce, our Italian sausage. So when everybody's using the exact same products, there should be consistency from store to store. You can't go to one store and have a pizza taste different than the other. And we do make our own dressings in house. So, but we have standardized recipes. So we have to have the commitment that the recipes are the same. We make our own Caesar salad dressing. I don't know of any pizza delivery place in the country that makes their own Caesar salad dressing from scratch every day. And that's what we do. Custom tools for measuring cheese. We have the contracts with all the manufacturers so that, and then we bring them to our vendor, and our franchisees don't pay any more for cheese than I do in my stores. So they get the benefit of our buying power. But the main thing is in controlling it, besides the proprietary consistency that they can only use as set products, is you got to have the people who care and understand the product. And we do mystery shopping, obviously. And so we're getting pictures of our own pizzas from every store every other week. And, you know, are they wearing the right uniform? Were you greeted properly? Were you charged the right amount? Did they repeat the order back? Were you thanked properly? And then we get their impression of the quality. Well, then they send us pictures, and we're our biggest critics. So, we have to go into the stores and make sure that we see and feel a culture that is led by what we call a servant leader.
Well, I think you nailed it right there. I mean, that was a pizza, my last pizzeria I used to work at as well. We would do that kind of secret shopper stuff. We would go to different locations. Every GM from a different location would go to visit one other one, take notes. Like you said, wearing the proper uniforms, cleanliness, and things like that. But I think the main thing, like you said, is the standard operating procedures, having kind of a pizza Bible of things that amounts and weights that you have to make. Consistency is key. So, moving on. Now, the other one from Alex is also, what incentives do you offer to keep your best people around? And then we do have a lot of others, so I'm trying to kind of get through these really quickly. But what incentives are you doing? I've heard this a lot, that there's a lot of people, even before all the situation, the pandemic hit, it was hard to get quality employees. So what do you do to incentivize your employees to stick around and actually give their best performances without, bribing them for the most part? And that's for you, Mike.
Okay. So, it mainly stems from the management, but, we try to instill in them a sense of ownership and, sense of ownership and a sense of being an important part of our family. They're obviously, everyone's chasing the dollar and, the grass is greener if you can make more over here, over there. But then sometimes you find out it's the intangibles that cause you to want to work at a certain place where you realize that, people really care about you and you're valued. And I mean, we have cooks that have been working for us for 30 years. And it's amazing. And, their kids are working for us. So that goes a long way. In addition to that, in terms of management, we have incentive programs. We basically share profit with our managers. When we get to a certain level of profitability, it kicks in and it grows in percentage as the profit grows. And so I want each of these guys, to see when they look at Fratelli, to see their name. Hey, that's my vehicle. Mine's not Fratelli. Mine's Mike. And when I look up there, I see a vehicle. So is that a vehicle that's going to get me to fulfill my needs? Is it a vehicle that I can be passionate about, that I can use to mentor people and form that, that family culture where people are valued and respected just because they are, not because they're, super in any way. And, it's always a struggle, but I think if you build a culture based on those principles, you at least retain a core group of people who feel like maybe they don't have the kind of community or family feeling that they get when they're working in one of our stores. And
No,
when I
well,
visited,
yeah, well,
and when I,
absolutely. I mean, Mike, I believe I've heard that before, and I'm a big proponent of that. It's the ownership. Give the employees ownership, kind of a feeling of ownership in the business, and they're gonna do their best to make it actually work. We did have a couple other questions. I wanted to actually ask this one to Matt. Maybe somebody asked, what is the best way to kind of use the social media or Hunger Rush to get events noticed currently in this avenue? I obviously all your social media platforms, but I mean, what does Hunger Rush do for a pizzeria to get the events out? And I know Mike was talking about a lot of his charitable events, which is great too. So I'd love to hear from him as well. But Matt, why don't you go ahead and answer that one real quick if you can?
Sure. So it really just comes down to your loyalty program. Hunger Rush offers a fully integrated solution, integrates your POS, your loyalty, all of your digital and physical ordering channels. And it also allows you really to own and leverage that customer data that you're getting, through your digital channels. So with that information, you are able to then, take that data and reach out and with personalized offers and personalized invitations to events or whatever you need to, right directly through the Hunger Rush platform.
Well, that's what I was going to ask Mike. I mean, how are you currently using this? And I do have another question for Mike as well. I mean, are you using this kind of feature as far as like, because you were talking about other charity events that you do as well. I mean, as far as like handling donations and stuff like that, is this all integrated through Hunger Rush for you?
it's basically just the data collection,
Yeah.
that we get and keeping us connected with the customer. And, in terms of there's not a lot of events going on right now that we can sponsor. I mean,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oktoberfest got canceled, and we're going to make some German pizza in Addison this October. Maybe wear some lederhosen, but it got canceled just like all the other ones. So we're having to just kind of connect with them personally till life gets back to normal.
Okay, well, there was a kind of a follow-up question, and I just have this one last one, and then I want to get some last-minute affirmations from both of you guys. But as far as like Fratelli Pizza, are the franchises, are you guys requiring them to use the Hunger Rush platform because it seems like it works really well? And how on hand are you guys with your franchisees as far as like these are our plans, this is what you have to use, or do you kind of give them the recipe book and let them go free? So, but I also want to, just like I said, get those final affirmations from both you guys. So, Mike, I'm sorry, just tell me, if somebody's interested in like an Fratelli franchise, what they can do, where they can go and get some information.
Okay. First of all, the answer is yes. We mandate that we all have to use the same system. So
Nice.
when they sign their agreement and we stipulate in our franchise manual that this is the system they have to use. So they don't have a choice.
Well, and that's good because you've established that it works, and Hunger Rush is a great company. So, all right, I'm sorry.
Right.
Go ahead, continue.
And which in a sense kind of puts us out there as an advocate for Hunger Rush, because if the franchisee has questions, a lot of times, they come to us. Hey, this is the system that you're underwriting and you're requiring us to use. So we have to understand it really well. So we have one of our guys in here named Eddie Marin, who I think he and Scott, the installer, I think they're best friends because we count on it so much. And even when there's an installation at any of our franchises, Eddie goes down there and we request Scott, and Scott comes and installs it. And they have a dialogue constantly, even when we're not doing installs. So once again, it comes down to relationships and dependability. And when you're requiring your franchisees you have to buy this system, then we have to stand by it.
Okay. Well, I mean, I like that. I mean, it's everything you were saying early on, consistency. That's what you need, especially in these times. So, Matt, do you have some just kind of final affirmation for the industry? And I'd love to, if we could see your face in the camera, Because you're up there, you've got the technology, but just what is the final message for Hunger Rush to make everybody feel comforted and safe right now? What can you guys do?
Why not? Yeah, and I'm actually going to commend Fratelli a little bit more. I really think the numbers say it all with regard to this franchise. We're super happy to be working with them, but 21 locations, one consistent brand experience, and absolutely zero closed or failed locations over the course of 30 plus years. And that really speaks to, that's like impossible in my head. It really sounds nearly impossible to do, and they pulled it off. So, we're just really grateful to work with a company that values their community ties, that really makes a difference in the community, and that also, stays at the forefront of restaurant technology to ensure that all of their franchisees have everything that they could possibly need to succeed. So I commend you guys for everything that you do there, and we look forward to a long relationship as you guys continue to grow.
Appreciate that very much.
Okay. Well, that's great. Like I said, pizza industry has actually been very lucky because it is kind of already oriented on the carry-out delivery. But Matt, is there one of the best tips that Hunger Rush can help people with to kind of make this pivot from if they're only dining in to carry-out and delivery? Is there one thing you got on top of your head?
Yeah, I think it really just comes down to the fact that things are so much more complex than they may have been a few years ago, especially with the new priorities that the consumers have, wanting off premise, wanting a lot of flexibility and a lot of safety. So what we realized at Hunger Rush a while ago was that the POS is just not enough anymore. You have so many different channels, so many different ordering channels across digital, physical, the phone, et cetera. You really need that data, and you need to own that data. You can't give that data away to third parties. That data is so valuable. And so what you need is a RMS, not a POS, a restaurant management system that really brings it all together into a complete solution where you don't need 8 vendors to do one thing. And that's really what Hunger Rush is striving to do.
Okay. Well, I like that. That's the first time I've heard that in the last few ones that we've done. I like RMS, restaurant management system.
Yeah.
So I did want to let you guys know that Bob, I'm not going to even try to pronounce your last name. I'm sorry, I would butcher it. But we do have that question. I will pass it forth to Hunger Rush and everybody else. Luis Garza says, "Great job, Mike. We love you and appreciate all you do for us." So at this point, I would just like to thank everybody who tuned in for all your questions and participation and your attention. I want to thank Matt Martini and Mike Cole for all their great information. We'll see you guys next time. I believe the next one is October 22nd. It's going to be our next Hunger Rush webinar. So we hope to see everybody there.
Oh, I was just going to say thanks, everyone. Mike, we really appreciate your time. Thanks for sharing your awesome stories, and looking forward to continuing working with you guys as we mentioned.
Beautiful. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thank you guys, everybody, for your attention, and thank you for your time, Matt and Mike. We'll see you guys next time.
Thank you. Bye.